It goes all the way to Diego Rivera and
when it was in
Clifford Still. Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. But I'm in East Bay.
Yeah.
I was never in the East Bay.
It wasn't?
No. The Art Institute was the San Francisco. But when in our days, it was called the San Francisco Art Institute.
That's right.
And then there was a name of it before, like California Institute for the Arts. Maybe that was in Oakland. But the building they were in on Chestnut Street. They'd been in it, I think, since the 1910 or 20 or something in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a great story about the Art Institute over there that I liked. Is that there was a known whorehouse across the street, in the building across the street, and they called the police on the Art Institute to report them because they were having nude models in there in the Art Institute, and it was distracting the clientele.
Well, they were doing it in the courtyard.
I don't know where. Is that right?
Well, probably.
No, you made that up.
No.
It's in the studios. They could see. If you stand across the street up on this hillside, you can see right into where the models were.
Really?
The clientele, I guess, was either distracted or something. But I thought the great irony of the house of prostitution calling, being moral about the Art Institute.
Can you imagine the guy standing there and looking out the window and ogling at the model instead of the hiree having a bed?
Right, that's right. There you go.
Look at that. Oh, too bad we don't have the camera available for that.
Somebody with their home went by. So anyway, so now it's closing, and we're gathering up the material, and it goes back into its place, and then it'll surface again. Maybe if I can find an interesting little space, or do it again, or if this place crashes as an antique store, I might be right back in here.
Come back in.
Yeah, so you don't know.
I kind of like the idea that you were talking about having a revolving art show. I mean, kind of like the raves, they rent a space for the night or the weekend.
Well, you have to be careful because the way the work is presented. One of the things I've noticed is, like, I took my work once to the flea market in Sausalito and sat there for 2 days. Got insulted every possible way I could have been, but it was kind of fun, and I actually did. One interesting thing happened is a guy just walked up and said, "I like that one." I said, "Oh, that's good." He said, "How much is that?" I said, $250 or something. He said, "Fine, write us a good check. There it is, thanks very much." And then back up here, my kid can do that. What the hell are you doing in the flea market? Got any stamps or anything like that? That kind of attitude. Where's the Tinker Toys? Anything underneath there? Well, that's the venue is important. So this had the thing that was cool about this. It has a little look. It has a right vibe. Like, I'm going to probably have a studio sale in the fall, or maybe sooner if my ass is getting kicked out of there faster. But if I do that, or if I set up another place, it has to be cool. It has to have a little something to it. So you can't just stick the crap out in the street. You know what I mean? It won't go anywhere. I thought about leaning my work against the wall out in front of my studio one day. Take all the larger paintings and say, having a sale. Very important thing is a mailing list, because you can't just appear with art. You have to have a mailing list.
How many people showed up for that mailing list?
Actually, the percentage was quite high compared to...
You sent out of what, 100?
I sent out probably 75 or so. You made me 50, mailed those, and probably another 25, and then I told all my students and all my classes and all the friends that I didn't send them to about it, and I imagine there was probably 50 people showed up.
From your mailing list?
And verbally.
Verbally. And just from your contacts?
Students, yeah.
Boy, that's good.
At the beginning, there were a few people who kind of wanted. I thought, well, you have to be prepared. I mean, one of the things that makes you is tough-skinned in some ways, but you're always. As
you get older, your skin gets
tougher, yeah, and it certainly has in my forehead.
Thinner too.
Thinner, yeah, a lot thinner. But I thought, oh God, nobody's going to show up. But you never know, and you think, okay, well, the hell with it. They don't show up, they don't show up. But then they started coming in, and people were very nice, and I made some sales, and that was good, and it helps pay the expenses, and it didn't make any big profit, but
Paid the framing bill, right?
Paid the framing bill. That's right. That's one of the marks, is to get the framing paid, get the garbage bill paid, and that's, beyond that, you can expect, nothing. You can hopefully get some of the expenses covered. And that's why I rented the space out for an artist to work in, because spaces are very hard to find, and so that's that.
Well, you think you've said enough about
I've
those
said too
spaces?
much,
Yeah.
clearly, already, but
Okay.
anyway, it's kind of the end of an era. It's been about, I think, about two plus years, and I will miss this space. I got very attached to the little space, working on it and seeing the neighbors, and there's some nice places to visit around the neighborhood. There's a friend of mine, James, has a store up the way, and so it became a kind of, it becomes a social event too, to be here. And
This space, although it's different, is kind of like that little studio you had on, I think it was on Collingwood.
yeah, 19th.
Yeah,
It was it was a beauty shop, and
Yeah.
this looks like a beauty shop. It looks like there would be the chairs over
Probably where
there.
it was, yeah, it was kind of a long, narrow thing with stairway back there. And I know how jealous I was of you when I went to your studio.
Jealous, oh
I
yes.
said, this guy is really an artist. He's got the studio here, and he had mounds of drawings and papers and paintings all over the place, and
It's my
paintings
first
on the
studio.
floor. And
Yep, Dick Van Buren had it, and I don't know how I got it, but I somehow got in there and got it. It was $75 a month, and it had.
that was expensive.
Yeah, that was a big step for me. And it was basically a storefront, and then it had living quarters in the back,
That's
a
right.
bathroom and
That's
two
right.
bedrooms and a kitchen, and a little tiny concrete yard. And a guy named Gene I took on as a roommate, and we had Tessa, the sausage dog, what do they call those?
Dachshund.
Dachshund dog. That was one of somebody's ex-dog.
A rescue job.
Yeah, from one of our instructors at state, actually. Anyway, so and that was my first real studio, and it was a storefront. It's basically a storefront.
Well, there were lots of storefront studios at that time.
Oh yeah, very
I
popular.
remember the first studio that gee, I can't remember his name. Big name now in New York, installation artist. Went to Davis. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he had a studio like that.
Gary's going to edit that in at some point.
Yeah, sometime I'm going to put
I'll make
the
it
words
look like
right
a
in my
food
mouth.
right, yeah. Yeah, that big guy.
Yeah, he's a name.
Yeah. Not Chris.
Nauman. Bruce
Bruce
Nauman. Yeah, he had.
Did he have one?
Yeah, he had a studio just like yours down there. And all he ever ate, the things you would remember about people were always really strange, but he would only eat meat and potatoes. He couldn't stand vegetables. And he was just this really super loose kind of, everything was just all over the place. And yet he built himself this absolutely perfect, beautiful, I believe it was a harpsichord, small keyed,
Wow.
all wood, keyboard with strings going this way, and then the hammers would pound on the strings, and it was just all little bits of inlay and everything. And I just said, well,
Interesting guy.
yeah, very interesting. Well, anyway, you want to wrap this up so you can, looks like about ready for you to go to your next. Is that wrapping?
I just wrapped it up. That's a
The
wrap.
people that are watching this are going to think that
That's
you
a wrap.
just had a.
I had a
connection
seizure.
fit.
I had a little seizure.
All right. Well, the next part of this is back to
In the home.
the studio.
The
No,
artist
the
is
studio.
in the studio.
Yeah.
Because I'm just about to be evicted out of there too. All right. Oh, the date. Let's put the date. It's the 24th of April, 2002.
And it's
Gary Molitor,
10 to 2.
Michael D. Cookinham. 10 to 2 in the afternoon.
Copyrighted.
Beautiful sunny day.
All right.